just going to cherry pick the bloodbath thing. I know that he said so many other things around and go right along with that comment, and time prohibited us from revealing all of the things that he said. But yeah, that was a nice try. Welcome to Street Politics. My name is Reese Waters. Don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the page. Now, here I am thinking we weren't going to hear from Byron Donalds for a while after he got knocked out by Jasmine Crockett in that debate undercard.
He can go and cower in a corner, or he can show up and be lit on fire.
Now, there are a lot of things that we can blame Donald Trump for, but finally giving Byron Donalds his buttered biscuits might be number one on the list.
I'd say, Mr. Congress, oh, look who we have. Byron, stand up, please. Superstar of the future. He's already a superstar, but he's a superstar of the future. Byron Donalds, Florida. Wow, that's nice to have you here. That's good. He's great. He's great. He knows exactly what I'm talking about. That one is smart. You have smart ones and you have some that aren't quite so good.
Because ever since he got a taste of them biscuits, he has been acting brand new.
Joining us right now is Republican Congressman from Florida, Trump campaign surrogate Byron Donalds. Congressman, it's good to see you. Thank you for coming in. Bouncing off the conversation that Harry and Sarah were just having, how undecided do you think the diminishing number of undecided voters really are this election at this point?
I believe they're somewhat undecided. I think they're juggling through the realities of America. Number one, the economy, this massive inflation created by Kamala Harris and Joe Biden.
Ooh, we are starting off light. Okay, here's the problem, Byron Donalds. If you actually showed up at work, you would have actually heard Jasmine Crockett actually talking to the authors of Project 2025. And they said something a whole lot different about the inflation situation.
We're not going to pretend in here. We're going to work with facts and not fiction. So I also want to talk about inflation really quickly with you, Ms. Perryman, because we've talked about it a lot. I'm just curious to know, is the inflation that we just struggled through, was that global or was that limited to the United States?
Global.
Global. Seemingly, it was attached to this thing called the global pandemic. Is that correct?
That is my understanding.
Oh, okay. So it wasn't just the United States.
No.
Okay, so it wasn't just a matter of the Biden-Harris administration and the United States is struggling, right?
I think the United States actually fared better than the rest of the world.
Oh, yeah. In fact, we are, correct?
I think so, yeah.
All right, but inflation still hurts, and so that's why we have a candidate that has an actual plan instead of concepts of a plan.
They not giving Byron his notes. See, Byron, you would have known that if you wasn't off getting your Beijing filled in.
The immigration problems in our country are real. They're looking at that. But then I also do believe they're having to juggle with also a lot of the rhetoric that's out there in terms of where the country's going and who's going to protect the country. And I think if you look at the facts are very clear that Donald Trump addresses the issues that concerns Americans, the economy, our borders, and our foreign policy.
Oh, yeah. He addresses the issues that concern America, all right.
You take a look at bacon and some of these products, and some people don't eat bacon anymore. And we are going to get the energy prices down. When we get energy down, you know, this was caused by their horrible energy wind. They want wind all over the place. But when it doesn't blow, we have a little problem. This was caused by energy. This was really caused by energy.
And what Vice President Harris is talking about is not those issues. She's talking about wanting to look forward, or unfortunately, there's still a lot of negative rhetoric coming from her campaign, basically saying, her and her surrogates, that Donald Trump is some threat to democracy, which is a flat out lie.
Wow, even Byron Donalds is leaving Trump's rallies early, because if he would have stayed, he would have heard this.
Christians, get out and vote just this time. You won't have to do it anymore. 4 more years, you know what? It'll be fixed, it'll be fine. You won't have to vote anymore, my beautiful Christians. I love you, Christians.
And that lie can be proven to be a lie because he was already president of the United States. The country was thriving when he was president of the United States.
Oh yeah, he was president of the United States, now that you mention it. It's weird why they would say he's a threat to democracy when he was already president of the United States.
Not gonna take it anymore. This is our country.
And there were no new wars when he was president of the United States.
In terms of rhetoric, do you think Donald Trump in the Trump campaign, do you think they have a problem with rhetoric as well?
No, and I don't. I think especially in light of the fact that there has now been a second assassination attempt on the life of President Trump, I do not believe so. What we are seeing now is that you do have radical elements of the Democrat Party.
Man, he don't watch the news neither. Wow, that's crazy. Because I thought that national news goes to Florida. Well, he need to spend more time in D.C. We get the national. They have actually done investigations into those people. So you might want to try again, trying to point finger over at the left. Byron, you still mad you got chased out of the DNC?
I'm here at the DNC. Is this Mr. Fascist Byron Donalds? In the flesh? What the?
You gotta let that go, man.
People who have been radicalized by the hateful rhetoric from Democrat officials, talking about how he's a threat to democracy, but that's simply not true. Talking about how he wants to bring in Project 2025. We know that is not true. That is a lie.
Oh, okay. So he will in fact say that none of this is happening then, right? If it's a lie, then he'll say, no, we are not going to do any of this. I disavow all the ideas in Project. No, we're not. Just, I don't know what it is. Oh, okay.
So with that being said, Ms. Perryman, I'm just curious, and this is yes or no. Is Trump's name ever mentioned in Project 2025? Yes or no? Just yes or no. I got you. I got you.
Within the document itself,
yes.
There are a number of references to the former administration.
So is Trump's name mentioned just one time?
I believe it's mentioned more.
Okay. 5 times.
I haven't counted.
Oh, okay. Well, if I told you that his name is mentioned approximately 312 times, would you have any reason to dispute that?
I don't have any reason.
Donald Trump has distanced himself from that. The Heritage Foundation has said he has nothing to do with it, but they say these things anyway.
Man, I wonder why they would say these things anyway, saying that he has nothing to do with Maybe because they actually read it. Man, Byron Donalds out here giving an interview. He don't watch the news. He don't go to work. He ain't even read Project 2025 to see Trump in there 321 times. But apparently I need to run for congressman in Florida. I could do that. All he does is get his beard lined up and fake a Jamaican accent.
What Donald Trump has been talking about is we're going to fix our borders. We're going to have a great economy again. We're going to get out of these conflicts. We're going to make America great again. That is his rhetoric. So I think if you compare the nastiness from Kamala Harris's campaign and from the Democrat Party compared to what we've been talking about really for the last 9 years, but specifically the last year and a half in this campaign, no, I do not agree that it is the same rhetoric. There's no moral equivalency in the rhetoric between these two campaigns.
Now that I agree with. That I agree with, Byron Donalds. You finally have made a good point. There is no moral equivalency.
Now she wants to do transgender operations on illegal aliens that are in prison. If I don't win this election, and the Jewish people would really have a lot to do with that if that happens, because at 40%, that means 60% of the people are voting for the enemy.
Whoever heard you get indicted for interfering with a presidential election where you have every right to do it? You get indicted and your poll numbers go up. When people get indicted, your poll numbers go down.
I think any serious person would also say, Congressman, that Donald Trump is a source of heated and dangerous rhetoric over months and years. I mean, even Republicans who support him and are voting for him this election have basically begged him to tone it down.
Winning formula for President Trump is very plain to see. It's fewer insults, more insights, and that policy contrast.
Donald Trump just needs to focus on the issues. Hit her with her policies first.
Don't call her stupid and all kinds of names. Stay on message.
Stop questioning the size of her crowds and start questioning her position.
Quit whining about her. It's not going to win talking about what race Kamala Harris is.
So if Republicans who even support you say that you've got a problem, you need to tone it down. You've got a mayor in Springfield, Ohio saying you guys need to tone it down because we now have bomb threats on schools in our area.
As the mayor of Springfield, Ohio, I recognize the significance of former President Donald Trump's upcoming visit to our community and the coming weeks has been announced. We are committed to ensuring that the event proceeds safely and smoothly for both the residents and visitors. We are working closely with law enforcement and first responders to ensure public safety remains our top priority. While the visit brings attention to our city, it also represents logistical challenges that require careful planning and allocation of our resources to minimize disruption of daily life. As a visit from the former president will undoubtedly place additional demands on our safety infrastructure. Should he choose to change his plans, it would convey a significant message of peace to the city of Springfield.
There's a problem also, in the general rhetoric of the campaign that the term that is often criticized, but that if you want to say both sides should address, but right, logically?
What the hell did you just say? Say it with your chest, Kate. There isn't a single other member, even in your own party, that will show up here today and sell that nonsense that you selling. You got to get you a better corner or a better cart because your goods are trifling. You are the person outside the stadium selling everyday goods like socks and toilet paper, and they not even in the package. That is what you look like coming up here and trying to tell me that Donald Trump's rhetoric hasn't been problematic.
Well, actually, let's dig into this a little bit more. And thank you for bringing this up. Yes, we've heard from the Springfield mayor, and nobody wants bomb threats or anything like that. Donald Trump and J.D. Vance have been talking about reports coming out of Springfield. J.D. Vance represents the state of Ohio.
Yeah, I've corrected this for the record as well. He does not, in fact, represent the state of Ohio. All J.D. Vance represents is Maybelline and Smokey Eye. That is all he represents. He don't even represent his own family.
Look, I love my wife so much. I love her because she's who she is. Obviously, she's not a white person, and we've been attacked by some white supremacists over that. But I love Usha.
J.D. Vance represents the state of Ohio. He's talking about things that his constituents have brought to him.
Wait. Not all constituents, because don't sound like he been too sensitive to the constituents on the left or the constituents that are brown. It don't sound like he really cares much about those constituents. In fact, I would love for some of these constituents to come forward with some of these supposedly confirmed reports. Y'all have yet to produce a name. Do you realize how quickly they would run somebody up to the news media if they had a single person who would go public with an account of cat-eating Haitians? Really, do you realize how fast they would be on Fox News? Quite frankly, I'm surprised they haven't made one up. I really am surprised they haven't just fabricated one at this particular point in time. I know that's not beyond them.
But let's compare that to the fact that Kamala Harris in a debate last week, she lied about Donald Trump's bloodbath comments. Why did she say that? Because she wants to invoke a negative energy around the campaign of Donald Trump, frankly, to affect these undecided voters that we talked about at the top.
What does she want to talk about? I mean, Congressman, you and I have gone back and forth a lot about fact checking that can happen.
Kate, Kate, can you acknowledge that Kamala Harris lied about the Charlottesville comments again? Something that even Snopes has debunked and said is fake news, that it is wrong, that his statements were taken out of context. Those are the direct lies coming from Kamala Harris.
Okay, a couple of things here, Byron Donalds. When it comes to the bloodbath comment, I actually give you a half point on that one, because even I thought Donald Trump says enough problematic things that you didn't have to take one comment that he made out of context. But the reason why I objected to them taking and running with bloodbath is because he had said so many other problematic things. Is this the same guy who said we probably won't even have a country if I don't win this election?
We also have to run our country. It's nice to be nice. It's nice to be good. We got to run our country. Our country's in trouble. Our country might not survive. I'll tell you what, if we don't win this election, I don't think our country's going to survive. I will say it. And I've never said that publicly, I don't think.
Wrong.
If we don't win on November 5th, I think our country is going to cease to exist. It could be the last election we ever have. I actually mean that.
But wait, there's more.
Fairly, this story. Because you people don't want to talk about the border. You don't want to talk about the bad things that are going on in our country. We're going to end up not having a country. You're not going to have any media. These monstrous abuses of power. The moment I win an election, and we're going to win, we got to win. If we don't win, we don't have a country. We don't have a country.
Is this the same guy that said we would probably change the name of states?
We have to win in November, or we're not going to have Pennsylvania. They'll change the name. They're going to change the name of Pennsylvania.
This the same guy that said we would have the next get together in Venezuela? Oh yeah, I'm just going to cherry pick the bloodbath thing. I know that he said so many other things around and go right along with that comment, and time prohibited us from revealing all of the things that he said, but yeah, that was a nice try. And funny you should mention the whole Charlottesville thing, because you guys love to make an issue about what he did or didn't say. How about this being the most pertinent issue?
There are real-life white racist groups in America that are active and identified by the FBI publicly that are self-proclaimed racist. We don't have to guess about Donald Trump being racist. We have actual self-proclaimed racists in America. All we have to do is ask them, who do they think is best for their agenda? Why do all of those groups like him so much? Do you think it's his economic policy? Do you think that these people get together and pick a candidate based off of economic policy? And if you're a white person that's considering voting for Donald Trump that doesn't consider themselves to be racist, what does it feel like knowing that you walk in the voting box and you hit the same button as some of the most abhorrently, flagrantly racist Americans? What does that feel like, being lockstep with them?
So if you're going to talk about the invective put into this campaign that Kamala Harris and her campaign has done, trying to invoke a negative response from voters in our country versus Donald Trump talking about issues, whether it be in a city or, quite frankly, you could bring up Aurora, Colorado, or you could bring up Denver, Colorado, that have been overrun by illegal immigrants.
There are
in
lots
our
of things
country.
can be brought
You
up,
can't
which is
compare
also,
the
if you're
two.
talking about lies and you're talking about comparisons, you can talk about a long list of lies. We could walk through it. I don't think it is to the benefit of voters right now for me to walk through to remind them of the lies that Donald Trump has told in the past. Case in point, eating dogs and pets, or lots of other things.
No, that's unacceptable. That's unacceptable, CNN. You're not going to have Byron Donalds sit up here and say Kamala lied about X, Y, and Z and then respond with, I mean, Donald Trump lied about so much stuff that we don't even have time to sit. No, list him. Make him sit there and eat his food. He wanted to call somebody else out for lying. You sit there and eat. I want you to put him on the split screen during a fact check. That is what I want to see right there. Just make him have to sit there and pick the little Beijing out of his beard and trying to figure out exactly who he gonna scam next.
For millions, 26 million at the latest count and growing, millions. And there was never any business entity involved except public corruption and a pay-for-play scheme.
Thank you guys so much for watching the video, and I especially want to thank those of you that have been emailing me at reese@reesewaters.com. I do look at it, and I wanted to say I've taken a number of suggestions just in the past week. I think half the videos were suggested from emails that I received from you guys, so keep them coming. And just because I may not be able to respond doesn't mean that I don't see it, and it doesn't mean that it's not impactful, because the email and the feedback that I get from you guys shapes my perception of the people that are consuming my content. So it really does impact the direction that we take moving forward. So just because I may not respond to your email doesn't mean I don't appreciate it. So thank you guys very much. Of course, we have the website, rheesewaters.com. There's some new merch on the website as well, so be on the lookout for that. And by the way, if you get some merch, if you get a shirt or hat or whatever the case may be, send me a photo of yourself with it. Maybe put in the title merch pick or something like. I could think of a way better subject title. Those of you that have signed up for my newsletter, use the portal on my website. I appreciate you guys for doing that. There'll be a new newsletter that is going out shortly, and in it will be updates on channel membership. That's right, something that you guys have been mentioning to me for a long time. We're finally on the precipice of it, so you can get all the details and the membership. Again, you can sign up on my website or send me an email at reese@reesewaters.com. There is so much on the horizon, and I, for one, am extremely grateful that you're along with me on this ride.